The new Harry Potter TV show trailer just dropped, and to me, it looks absolutely amazing. It looks really, really good. Now, do I think it will be better than the movies? I don't think so. That would be quite hard to pull off. However, I do think it will be a good show. I do think many people will also agree with me that this show will be a very good Harry Potter show. However, there is a situation with this upcoming TV show that a lot of people are debating over, having arguments over, and just overall some people are just absolutely angry about. Now, I'm pretty sure it's fairly obvious what I'm going to talk about, and that is the Severus Snape casting choice that they have done for this new TV show. Now, I'm just going to give my quick overall thoughts and opinions on this new casting. Starting off, I just want to say, I do not accept any of the racial abuse that is going towards the new Snape actor. I think his name is Papa Esido. Apologies if that's wrong, but yeah. I do not condone any of that. I do not accept the abuse that's going towards him. So yeah, if you are watching this video, please let's just be respectful. So yeah, me personally though, after looking at some images and that small clip in the trailer, he does give off like a Severus Snape vibe. He does give off that calculating, cold, mysterious type of vibe, which Snape is actually described. However, there is something else that was specifically described in the books about Snape, and that is his pale ghost skin. And looking at this new casting choice, it does not look like he has pale ghost skin. And that right there has caused a lot of outrage from many people. Now, many people are just using this as an excuse to just be racist towards him. However, the other half are actually just critiquing the casting choice, which to me is very fair, because the showrunners or HBO Max or whoever has literally announced that this new Harry Potter TV show will literally be book accurate. They literally said they're trying to be more book accurate than the movies, because since it's a TV show, they have more time to show and explain and go into more things that they couldn't do in the movies from the books. And Severus Snape is literally one of the only characters whose skin colour was literally clearly stated. So I can see the outrage or the criticisms that people have towards the casting choice. And me personally, I do agree. Because now they're going to have to go back on their word and change up the story. Because to me, if you're going to race swap a character who was very specifically described in the source material, you're going to have to change up the story. Similar to the Human Torch and Michael B. Jordan, they had to change the story because, well, Michael B. Jordan does not look like Sue Storm's brother. So yeah, to me, they're going to have to change something to make it make sense. And that's my problem with race swapping. To me, if you are going to race swap, you're going to have to make it make sense. And that is just through changing up the story or doing a totally new character or whatever. Now, to me, a good example of a great, amazing, iconic race swap is of course Nick Fury by Samuel L. Jackson. Now, he actually had an advantage of the race swapping because we all know Nick Fury is supposed to be a white American soldier. However, with Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury's origins have changed into a black American. Now, why I say Samuel L. Jackson had an advantage is because, let's be honest here, many people were not big fans or didn't even know about Nick Fury like that, apart from the proper Marvel fans. So there wasn't actually a big deal with Samuel L. Jackson being casted as Nick Fury. And quite frankly, he actually made it such an iconic character. Many people loved Nick Fury. So yeah, fair play to Samuel L. Jackson, shout out to him. Now, that doesn't actually relate to Severus Snape because not only did we have such an iconic performance from Alan Rickman in the movies, but he's literally one of the most iconic characters from book readers and movie watchers. And his description in the original source material is clearly stated. This is the main problem that people are having with the new Snape. Now, I'm not trying to defend the other half, the racial abusers. Let's not do that. No need to be racist at all. But yeah, for the other half who are actually critiquing the casting, I do agree. I do think they should have actually got someone who actually looks like Snape as he is described. Because they're actually going to have to go back on their word about them wanting to be more book accurate. They can't be more book accurate if they have completely changed the appearance of the character. So yeah, I do think if they did want to add more coloured actors into the show, which I can't like, I do like the idea of coloured actors, black actors, whatever. getting big opportunities to show off the acting skills, and just overall creating a big impact for the community. However, it has to make sense. Because let's be honest here, if there was a small-time white actor trying to be Black Panther, this would be a similar situation, let's be honest here. Because it just does not make sense. Black Panther is supposed to be an African man because that's what the source material was. He's supposed to be African. So if there was a white actor going for Black Panther, that would not make sense at all. And this is the same situation with a black actor trying to portray a man whose skin color is supposed to be pale and ghostly looking. Now, if the source material didn't actually describe his skin color, I do think this actor would be an amazing Snape. He does give off, like I said earlier, that calculating, intense, mysterious type of vibe. However, they're going to have to change the story, like I said earlier, to make it make sense. And also, to get rid of the bad narrative, because, let's be honest here, we all know about Snape's story, how tragic he actually is. If we see a scene with James Potter, Harry's dad, bullying and doing the same tree thing that they did with this new actor, that would be very bad. That would look horrendous. HBO would definitely get slandered, and it's just not a good look at all. And similar to Harry Potter and the other characters in Hogwarts, their opinions on Snape. A lot of people do not trust Snape, and considering that this Snape is going to be one of the only coloured characters in Hogwarts or whatever, it will look very bad considering most of the people in that universe do not like Snape at all. So it would look very bad. So yeah. So yeah. I do think they are going to have to go back on their word and not be book accurate and just change up the story for Snape to make the story make sense. That's literally all they have to do in my opinion. But yeah, I do agree that the casting wasn't the greatest of castings. I do think they should have casted an accurate Snape. And if they did want to add a coloured actor or black actor, they could have gone for anybody else or added a new Harry Potter character. They could have made Dumbledore a coloured person. That might be a hot take, but I'm pretty sure Dumbledore isn't actually described. That his skin colour specifically is not described at all. So if they did want to add more diversity, they could have made Dumbledore black. Which to me, I do think it would have made sense. A lot of people I think would have been okay with it. However, it's the fact that Snape was the only character who's specifically described to be very pale, like vampire looking. But let's be honest here, we have not even seen the show, and I do have high hopes. I do think the actor will be a good actor, considering from that one image and trailer, he does give off that vibe of Severus Snape. So, yeah. I do agree that the casting was a miscasting. However, I do think he will still do a great job. They're just going to have to change up the story to make it make sense. But yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the whole situation with Snape and the actor. And again, let's not be rude to the actor and let's all be more respectful. So, yeah.